guys about tonight seems trivial in light of what we just saw. But this is something that college students that undoubtedly you are struggling with in your lives, in your daily lives, especially tonight if you are a follower of Christ. You are undoubtedly struggling with this whole question of how do I fit God into my life? And so that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about for the next little bit is how do I fit God into my life? How do I fit God into my schedule? How do I find time for God? But I don't want to talk about that if you guys aren't dealing with that. How many of you guys would say, man, I'm struggling with that. How do I fit God into my life? I mean, I was in college. Yeah, so college is crazy. College is busy. And so I was online. I was looking at a UCLA study. They took a poll of 25,000 college students. And they asked them, how do you spend your normal week? And so this is what they found, and this might be true of you as well. A typical college student spends 11 to 15 hours attending classes, so that's a full-time college student. You guys are probably in that boat. So 11 to 15 hours you spend attending classes, 6 to 10 hours you spend studying or doing homework. You spend 6 to 10 hours hanging out with friends, 3 to 5 hours exercising, 3 to 5 hours on social networks like Facebook or Twitter, 3 to 5 hours partying, 1 to 2 hours watching TV. I thought that was a little low. I thought 1 to 2 hours watching, that's like American Idol alone. 1 to 2 hours watching TV, and less than half of an hour talking with professors outside of class where you're asking them, how can I be a better student, and all those things. So that was the less than 1 hour. And so man, I realized, like, if your life is anything like a college student, your week is just slam-packed. Anybody ever feel stressed out about your week? Your week is slam-packed with tests, papers, and man, pop quizzes from time to time. You got to do your homework. You have to actually get up and go to class. I mean, your lives are stressful. And some of you guys work outside that. And so, man, listen, I was there. I remember I went to Appalachian State in Broome, North Carolina, and man, I just remember college being stressful. It was a stressful time. So I kind of want to talk to you guys about how do I and how do you fit God into your schedule, okay? Because I think that this question that I'm posing, the question that you're asking can be answered in one word that we've been talking about tonight, and it's really just the idea of love. How do I fit God into my schedule? It really comes down to love. Now, how many of you guys have been in love? Raise your hand. Have you been in love? Sarah looks over at Adam, yes. Have you been in love? Raise your hand again. Have you been in love? All right, how many of you guys are in love right now? How many of you guys hope that someday in the future you will be in love? And you hope that that person that you're in love with will also love you, right? Yeah, listen, I think we all kind of want this whole idea of love. When I was in college, I did not meet my wife. I heard before I went to college that you meet your wife in college, and so I graduated Appalachian, and I hadn't met my wife yet. I was stressed. I was kind of struggling, like, because that's what they said was going to happen, and it didn't happen. So I remember walking across the stage, and I was feeling good that I graduated, but feeling bad that I hadn't met my wife yet. I dated some girls, and they obviously weren't going to be my wife. And so I went to seminary. Now, I went to seminary to prepare for ministry, not to continue the wife quest, but I went to seminary, which is like a school for pastors and stuff. So I went to this seminary, and I went through the first year of seminary, and I didn't meet my wife the first year of seminary. And if you know anything about like schools for pastors, there just aren't very many girls there. And the ones that are there, they're taken or they're going on the mission field. Anyway, it's just interesting. It's just very interesting. Very interesting group of women is what I'm trying to say. And so I love women going on the mission field. I think they're great. We have great things there. Okay, so fast forwarding. So my second year of seminary, I go into my Old Testament class with Dr. Gary Galliotti, and I was sitting toward the back, and these two girls walked in, and they sat toward the front. One of those girls was a girl named Lindsay Prosser. And I got home from class that day, and my roommate, Brad, was like, hey man, I saw these two girls at school today. I was like, yeah, me too, they're in my Old Testament class. So I knew exactly who he was talking about. And he was talking about Lindsay and her friend Nicole. And so for the next month or two, Lindsay and I were in class together. We never spoke. She was on the front row. I was sort of toward the back. We never really talked. And so finally, through a long course of events, Lindsay and I had lunch together. And I said, this is not a date. You bring a friend. If you want to bring a friend, we'll just meet up for lunch. So she actually brought a friend, which was, what? So she brought a friend. And she brought a friend. And man, we went at an ice cream shop right there on campus. And we had chili together for 3 hours. And we just sat there, hanging on every word. The friend that came with her was like she didn't even exist. It was awesome. So for 3 hours, Lindsay and I sat in this ice cream shop, and man, we just talked about everything. And I remember when we were leaving, like we saw a little flyer up on the wall that was saying about an art class, and we were both like, hey, we should really think about taking that together. We didn't, but we thought, man, I just remember thinking, man, this Lindsay Prosser girl, she is awesome. Man, Lindsay Prosser was amazing. So it started affecting me. It started affecting me in class. I had this class on the book of Ezekiel. I don't recommend it, but I took this class on the book of Ezekiel. I know nothing more now than I knew before I took it. I didn't know much before I took it. Because once I met Lindsay, like I had some notes. You can't see this, but just trust these are notes from Ezekiel. I went from doing that in class, as a 23-year-old man, I'm not ashamed to admit it. This is what I did in class. This top says Lindsay Prosser with hearts around it. Dead serious. This is the real thing. Yeah, that's right. And I misspelled Lindsay as A-Y. I didn't realize that it was E-Y yet. I haven't gotten to that level yet. But literally in my Ezekiel class, I would sit there and I would list out the things that I love about Lindsay. I mean, every day in class is what I did. I think that may have been my worst semester at seminary. But listen to what I wrote. Like I was writing stuff like, I'll just read this list. I'm not embarrassed to say this. Lindsay is the godliest woman I've ever known because, ... Okay. 1, she's godly. 2, she's full of grace. She's ladylike. She's beautiful. She's a girl. She's fun to be with. She has a great smile. She has penetrating looks. She has pretty eyes. She loves to cuddle. Okay, she loves to cuddle. She loves me without having to say it. I think she was saying it by this point, but she didn't have to say it. She sings great. She desires to be led. I could tell that in knowing her earlier. She brightens my every second. She plays the guitar. That was like she was learning how to play the guitar. And she must have told me she could play the guitar. She actually can't play the guitar. So she paints and draws, and she does that very well. I don't understand this one completely, but it says she likes to play with me. Smiley face. I don't understand. She doesn't cry without good reason. She loves children. Evangelism is natural to her. She loves people. She's spiritually deep. She's not high maintenance, which was a big one for me. She's selfless. She has a cool accent because she's from the Midwest. And so she prays deeply, and she loves God with all of her heart. So this is what I did after I met Lindsay. In my seminary classes that were preparing me for ministry. So if you ever wonder, like, what is up with this dude? This is what happened. Like, I stopped preparing for ministry, and I just started doing this. This is like what you do in middle school. But man, that's what I did. And so I convinced Lindsay to kind of hang out with me a little bit. And then one night I remember standing around the lake at Cavanagh Farm's apartment. And I just remember, like, I was so terrified. And I said, Lindsay, I got to tell you how I feel about you. Let's just get this all out in the open. I didn't bring the weird list because I've been weird. But I was telling her, like, man, this is how I feel about you. And this is what I want for us. And this is how I want to pursue you. And I remember she was like, me too. You know, that's exactly what I want to do. So for like, 8 months later, I got down on one knee in St. Louis, which is where she's from, and I asked her to marry me. 6 months later, we got married. That's right, it was quick. It was quick. Because I wasn't letting her go. It was like, fool her long enough to get to the altar, you know? And so, man, here's the deal, though. Man, I loved Lindsay, and I love Lindsay. Lindsay is an amazing wife. She's an amazing mother. She's still all those things. And I love Lindsay, and I loved her then, and I wanted to pursue her. And I wanted to just run after her. We would try to meet to study together in the library, and we never studied. We'd just sit there and talk for hours and hours and hours. We would try to meet at Barnes & Noble to study and just talk for